Sitting here in a very peaceful environment. And it's one of the main reasons I love to visit temples and mosques and churches, to really feel a space of peace. And as soon as you pull up to the gate here, as soon as you get to the parking lot, you can feel those peaceful vibrations. And I think I'm almost in that village in Bangladesh that was mentioned earlier, where there's no internet, there's no phone, and you can really just listen to the vibrations. And as I was sitting there, one of the vibrations that I started to hear was one that really resonates with where we are as a country. In our pledge, we have a line that says, it says to obey the laws of Guyana, and it also says to love your fellow citizens. And in this piece, that's one of the things that you can feel. You can feel the love of everyone that is seated here today, and the love that has been built up over not just the 9 years of the center being in place, but also the time that it has taken for this movement to continue to grow. That love also grows. So what comes to mind to me is a very pressing question. And it might be more a question on biology than religion, but the question that comes to me is, what type of juice do you get when you squeeze an orange? So I want you to think very carefully about that. And what comes to mind? If you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. So it means that that anxiety that was mentioned earlier creates pressure on people. We take a responsibility, all of us took a responsibility to be here today. And for some of us, that responsibility creates anxiety. When I heard that introduction, I said, that sounds like me. Who's that? That's someone who is very similar to me. I'm very interested to hear. And then I realized, oh, wait, that's going to be me coming up next. So it can create a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of pressure. And just like an orange gets squeezed, the orange gets put under pressure, I'm thinking that orange probably also experiences anxiety. But love comes out. And that's what I want to make sure that we all realize by choosing this responsibility of being here, by choosing our responsibility of productive citizens as well. We want that love to come out, because that love is exactly what not just this country, but also the world needs. And as I was sitting there, the words that came to my mind, that other than love, what I really feel here as well is care. And that is also something that is very much needed in our society. And because I'm also a teacher, I always love to teach in ways that people can remember. And the word care as well. If I think about the C in care, I think about community. And again, it takes me back to that place in Bangladesh. Without internet, without a smartphone, you really have to rely on each other for that education, that support, that community that makes us feel like we're bigger, we're part of a bigger being and not just ourselves. Because in the West, we have become very individualistic. We think about ourselves before we think about others, and that's one thing that always strikes me about Prabhudev. Always very much concerned about what's happening with others and that others are well taken care of. I'm sure if you meet him in the hallways, he'll always ask you, hey, what's happening? How are you? How are you feeling? Do you need something to eat, something to drink? I was glad to hear about the coconut water, and then Hare removed the coconut water from my mind. Because just like coconut water and orange juice, they are organic things that fill us, that allow us to then produce this love. A lot of our society has been also affected now when they get addicted to things that are not organic. And I don't want to call any of the brands of your favorite artificial drinks that we've gotten addicted to, and we forget what's organic. So this community, if I think about the C as community, I think about the A as accountability. This community provides you with accountability. It provides you with a reminder of who you said you want to become and what the things you said you want to do. If you want to be devoted, if you want to do good for society, this community helps you to remain accountable as well, to keep reminding you. And that's why it's so important that you show up. And that's why I'm very happy that I'm able to show up here today. I did, when I said that, I'm running a bit late, Prabhudev said, no, just make it, and I think that's enough, and that's what I also want to share with you. Even if at times you think it's going to be late, it's better late than never. The R that comes to my mind is results, and I like that the doctor mentioned, professionals. And professionals, a professional is someone who you can rely on to deliver a specific result. I would love, if I'm sick and I go to the doctor, I go there for a very specific result. And I was very happy that the two youngsters also took us through not just the song itself, but we also heard the lyrics translated into English. And that also really resonated because it said, you don't have to stop your profession to be able to be devoted. They can go hand in hand. And thank you. So they can go hand in hand, and we need professionals. It's not that I would want Doc to stop being a doctor and just be here all the time. We need professionals who take the ethical teachings that are taught here and apply it in your profession, because I think that's what's very much missing. I'm known from the business world, and the biggest reason why I think I've gotten to where I've gotten is I keep remembering the ethics that are also important. We can't be ethical between these walls and not be ethical in our daily lives. And I love the spiritual names that everyone has. I think my grandparents made sure that I'm always reminded of my own spiritual name. It's not just Vishnu Doerga, it's Vishwanath, Krishna, Vishwanath, Doerga. So I guess I also have courtesy of my grandparents, my own spiritual name. And I grew up in business, but in my own grandparents' home, there was also a temple that was connected to the household, and our days started in the temple. And when I started going to a Roman Catholic school, and I told my grandmom that, I'm considering, they're talking so much nice things about this religion, I'm considering joining. The next morning when I got to temple, there was a photo of Jesus in there. So she said, well, we're all one big happy family, we'll all teach the same thing. Get started here and take the same ethics and do it in whatever you choose to pursue. And I took that very seriously. I love it. And for those of you who have your grandparents around, please love them. They have so much wisdom to share with you. Please set aside time to sit with them. I'm from both countries. I'm from Guyana and Suriname, and my grandmom is still alive in Suriname. She's gonna be 88 on August 4th. I love it that every year, a couple of times a year I go, I sit with her. I'm able to get not just her love, but also her wisdom. And I think sometimes we neglect that. And without getting that, how do we expect to get the results that we want in our life, the service that we could produce in our lives? And then finally, the E in care, what came to me is education. And we are at the study center. So it's not just the place where Dr. Gomes, who I've known for almost his entire 20 years that he's been here as Prabhudev, it's not just a place to stop to educate your stomach with new tastes and good flavors, but also to educate your mind with lessons that you can not just apply in your personal life, in your spiritual life, but also in your profession. To make sure that what you do it with love, you do it with care, you don't just do it for the money, because money is fleeting. When you do things with care for people, the multiplying effect of that is amazing. I've experienced that my entire life, and I would encourage each and every one of you to do the same as well. So with that said, I trust that the center continues to make the impact that it has. And if I look at the color orange, I see Dr. Gomes wore a strong orange, or a very special guest as well. It almost makes me think about where I started this little presentation about squeezing an orange and getting orange juice out of it. When I squeeze all these orange people here, we get love out of you. Let us also not forget that, the way we look, our color, the clothing we wear, just like this orange has a lot of family, we have tangerines, we have limes, we have lemons, grapefruits. There are people who look different than us. There are people who dress different from us. They also have love within them. And I'm very happy that as a unit, we've been able to make an impact. I think all our other human family needs this help. They need this help to also inspire the many lost souls, the many wandering souls who haven't found the place yet, that give them structure, that gives them direction, that gives them care, that gives them love. And I know that work is being done there. And I just want to also make sure that just like we're able to do this for ourselves, let us do it, continue to do it for the wider and wider society in a way that they can also understand. Because sometimes they look at the way we look, they look at the way we dress, and they think that's not for us. Like even in India, where Dr. Gomes didn't think the Hare Krishna movement was for him until he truly discovered it many, many thousands of miles away from India. So we don't have to travel as far as him. All we need to do is travel the own roads in our own villages, in our own city, and spread that knowledge. So congratulations on the 9th celebration of the establishment of the facility. And I wish you all the best, and I'll do all I can to support. Hare Krishna.